Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world today. I am here with an exciting guest here on Fit for Growth, which is a podcast that we've developed for franchisees, franchisors, people that are looking in the process, consultants. And it's exciting. I'm bringing you today one of the greatest consultants that has ever walked the planet. Her name is Kim Daly. She's known as the Daly Coach. She has her own show, her own podcast. Well, quite frankly, it's her world and we're all just living in it. Kim, welcome to Fit for Growth and the Consultant's Corner. Thanks for coming and spending some time with us.
You're welcome. I'm blessing you with my time. Thank you, Bobby.
You got it. It is my pleasure. So, Kim, going to run through some things today. Primarily, I want you to brag about yourself. So I can tell many things to many people about Kim Daly, but what I want to understand from you is if you could give us kind of the evolution of Kim Daly and how you started in business and how you've evolved into this great consultant that you are today. So the floor is yours, Kim. We're all ears.
That's amazing. Okay. So the question I always ask on my podcast is, how did franchising find you? Right. Because nobody wakes up and goes, oh yeah, my dream is to own a franchise or be a consultant. Right. But then we get in and you and I, Bob, we're lifers. We just never leave. So what the heck happens there? Right. Well, my story's the same. I did not wake up and think I wanted to be in franchising. I actually was on the path to go to medical school. So you got to go back to college. In college, I worked for the Boston College Alumni Fund. I was the number one telemarketer every single night I was on the phone. Baby, if you answered the phone, you were giving me money. I learned so much about myself through that job. Number one, I'm hyper competitive. And number two, I'm really good on the phone. So I raised a lot of money for VC. So that prompted me to answer a classified ad in the newspaper. Do I need to stop and explain what that is, Bobby? Because you're a little younger than I am.
I don't think I am, but go ahead.
I answered a classified ad.
Continue, I should say.
That was for an 8-week telemarketing job over the summer between college and med school. And it literally changed my life. So it was for a franchise company here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where I live. And after 2 or 3 days on the job, the president of the company took me out to lunch and was like, hey, if you give me 1 year, I'll make you a very high paid inside salesperson in franchising. Of course, my father was like, don't do it. You'll never go to med school. I'm like, Dad, my whole life is about med school. The idea of just taking a little break and doing something different was so appealing. You're tired. I was a summa cum laude graduate. I had straight freaking A's, straight A's for 16 years of school. I was done. So I took the job. Of course, my dad was right. My dad's always right. I'm sure Brenna says the same thing about her dad too. Anyway, I had more fun that first year out of college with a $30,000 base pay. I made $125,000 my first year out of college.
Wow.
Selling advertising to franchisors, having more fun, meeting people, being in this entrepreneurial environment, this whole industry of people helping people. I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people. I just never left. It was perfect. So what happened, Bob, to get to the punchline? 3 years later, we went from this company doing $300,000 in revenue to $6 million in revenue, all because of Kim Daly. The president, the .com thing was starting. The founder positioned the company to be sold to a media company. The company sold. And now he said to Kim Daly, you helped me. I want to help you. I want to help you start your own company, because he knew that I had that entrepreneur in me. So with his help, we formed a new .com called Be Healthy Now, and we got that partnered with USA Today. So if you went to usatoday.com and you clicked on health and fitness, it clicked over to our company, my company, Be Healthy Now. So because of that national platform, I launched into the stratosphere, commanding big advertising dollars. Not to mention it was the wild, wild west. There was no rate cards or pay-per-click model. It was whatever you could freaking get. And I went for the moon and I got it. So What happened is I was attracting big people like Denise Austin. Do you know who Denise Austin is?
I sure do. Okay. Yes, in her yoga videos.
Yeah. So love Denise. So she wanted to spend money with me, but she didn't have a website. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll build you one. So I went back to my team. This is how entrepreneurial the beginning of the .com thing was. I'm like, she needs a website. Let's build her one. So my team was like, okay. So we literally built Denise Austin's first website. So then she started getting fan mail. And I'm like, Denise, you have this whole thing happening. I'm a nutritional biochemist. Like some of it's nutrition. Like I can respond to those. So she's like, okay. So I become a ghostwriter for Denise. So now I'm doing that. So then she's like, Kim Daly, I love you so much. Like I want to do more with you. Let's meet face to face. So I'm like, oh, great. Because I have an idea to pitch Lifetime TV. She's on Lifetime TV. I have the idea. This is like circa 1998, maybe. And I'm like, let's see if during the commercial break of your show, we can promote your website. So we fly to New York City. We fall in love with each other because she is real in real life as she is on TV. It's just as darling and sweet and everything. She loves Kim Daly. So here I am, like 28 years old, buy a new suit and everything, walking into pitch the executives of Lifetime TV. And I'm like, okay, so you got our show. So during the commercial, we have this beautiful community brewing over here on our website, like words that were never used back in 1998. So what we want is for you to run a commercial or like put her URL at the bottom so her community members during commercial break can go to her website and start interacting. And they were like, you want people who are watching TV to be on their computer at the same time? And they laughed me out of the room. So I was ahead of your time. I was way ahead of my time. So that ended there. But then Denise got to know me and she was like, do you want to be on TV? I'm like, does Kim Daly want to be on TV? What do you think? She's like, you know what? She's like, I want you to take over all of my business on QVC. So for the next, I don't even know what it was, 2, 3, 4 years, I took over all of her work on QVC US and QVC UK. So it was like crazy because they would send me to like all the way to London and they would give me like 3 segments. They always gave me midnight because one, I proved myself I could move. I could sell some serious Denise Austin product. So they'd send me over there and I'd be on TV one time. Like I'd get 1 8-minute segment and I'd sell out my entire inventory. So I'd go all the way over there for 8 minutes and like they'd have 2 or 3 other slots for me, but I'd have no more product. I'm like, wow. Send me more. So anyway, I had a ton of fun with QVC, had a ton of fun with Denise. What happened is I got picked up for a 1-year contract by a company called eDiets. And that moved me down to Boca. That's when you met me when I was living in Florida. So I was still doing Be Healthy Now, but kind of positioning myself out of that, working for eDiets to launch eFitness. So they wanted to build a fitness club to rival the largest weight loss website in the world at that time, which was eDiets. So they moved me down to Boca. I did that for 1 year. It was okay, but then 9/11 happened. And when 9/11 happened, I realized I wanted to be home because with Be Healthy Now, I had an apartment out in Vegas because oftentimes I had to be in LA, I had to be in Salt Lake City. So Vegas was like a $45 flight. So like I was traveling all the time, in and out of the suitcase, no real like solid future. And the long and short, Bob, is that like I came to this place where I'm like, I need systems. This is all fun and I'm making money and I'm like, it's like flying by the seat of your pants, like the wild, wild west. But like I was turning 30, like I need something that has some meat on the bone that's sustainable. I went back to some of my friends in franchising, was like, what are you guys doing? And they were like, hey, there's this thing called franchise consulting. That was the end of that. So February 14th, 2002, I became a franchise consultant and who knew? It would be the greatest adventure of my life. Franchising has completely changed my life. I have become the person that I am today. I've built legendary success in the industry, but more importantly for myself, I become a multimillionaire through this franchising thing, like helped so many people, created nearly 1,000 small business owners here in the US. And now I've launched a coaching platform just because I want to help more people do what I did, go from 8 years average performing to 1 year later back in 2011, history making. Same skill set, same crappy economy, same franchise process. And yet I increase my revenue by 350% through a mindset shift. And that's kind of now what I'm selling in the Zee Suite. So that's my long story. I hope you find it fascinating.
That it is fascinating. And being a friend and knowing you for so long, you exude passion and your smile is electric in its own. Let's dive into the Zee Suite. Tell us about that because you've done consulting for so long and put so many people in business and made dreams come true. There's always a great time. There's always the sad stories too, right? We go through all of it in franchising. But now you're turning what you've basically built in your mountain of experience, and professionalism now, and you're directing that towards helping others in the Zee Suite. Let's talk about that. Give us kind of a high level overview of what you're doing now with the Zee Suite.
So, Bob, every franchise has like a 10% at the top, 80% in the middle, and 10% at the bottom, right? No matter how good the franchisor is, no matter how good the training is, you have this big middle pack. These are people whose life savings is invested in the dream. They signed up to live the dream, but yet they can't get there. Well, what I've realized through all these last 13 years of really making and breaking my own legendary and history-making record at FranChoice is it's not about strategy. Strategy gets you so far. It's mindset. It's how we think, how we talk, and how we act. And ultimately, it's who we're being when we're performing. And what I've realized in franchising is there's a lot of franchisors even that I would call unconsciously competent, meaning they're massively successful, but they don't actually know why they're successful. So they make it about the systems and the tools, and they're amazing. And I'm not downplaying that. You need that. That's what buys down the learning curve. You don't want to be an entrepreneur, like buy the toolbox. But the toolbox alone doesn't help people become legendary. It doesn't help people get into the top 10%. There's something extra. And most franchisors can't even tell me what it is. I know what it is because I've been studying it for 13 years. So they have it, but they don't know it. You can't give away what you don't know that you have. So in the Zee Suite, Bob, what I'm doing is I'm teaching people the creative process. There's one and only creative process in the entire universe, stated by Einstein and Jesus. So the Zee Suite is Einstein meets Jesus. You want to talk quantum physics, baby? I will talk the physics of the universe with you all day long. We will talk about energy and frequency and changing states of matter, because that's what we're doing when our thoughts become things. You want to talk Christianity or Jesus? I can do that too, because Jesus said all of the same things, just use different words. So actually what happened is in this 13-year trajectory, I grew up in a Catholic church. I'm still a practicing Catholic. And when I stepped outside of Christianity to see, like, what did other people say about God in personal development, neuroscientists, in philosophers, I realized all these people say the same thing. They just use different words. And when I heard the science of getting rich with my Christian foundation, it actually made me go, oh, now I know why we do all that stuff at church. Like, it made me a better Christian, for real. So if you're a Christian, you're going to grasp what I'm doing even faster. But if you're not a Christian, you don't have to have Christian foundation to come to the Zee Suite, because we can make it about science. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it is. There's a science to getting rich. It's more than strategy. And I'm the only one in the entire franchising industry telling you about this science.
It sounds like people would benefit by worshiping at the altar of Kim Daly. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes,
I'm also hearing too much strategy is not the greatest thing. It'll get you so far down the field, right? But the main thing is it sounds like there's a culture. There's a culture that needs to be built. And someone once told me, culture eats strategy for breakfast.
That's awesome.
So whatever culture you're developing sounds like a winning combination. So talk to me about, okay, I'm fascinated by the things that you're doing at the Zee Suite. I think this is something that, I mean, knowing you, this is something that's going to grow to something really, really big and really, really important. More importantly, probably something more important than really, really big if I know you. Tell me of a piece of advice that you would give someone that's going into, and I'm thinking of your typical corporate person that's maybe a married couple. Maybe they've got some couple kids that are younger, but they've always wanted to own their own business. Give me some nuggets that you would tell that couple. Here's 2 or 3 pieces of advice from the thousands of people that I've helped in my career. What would you say to that couple?
So advice from the Zee Suite or advice as the franchise consultant?
Can we do both?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do the consultant first.
Okay, sure. So when you come to the idea of like, hey, I think I want to explore a franchise, the most important thing you need to do is get clarity in your mind around why you want to own a business. So everybody comes and tries to tell me like what the business should be. Like, no offense, but I don't really care what you think the business should be, at least up front. I want to know why. Because your motivation for wanting a business is going to drive how you want to show up in that business. And how you show up, let's go to the Zee Suite, determines how you perform. So if you really want to select the right business, the most important thing to do is get clarity in your mind around, why do I want to invest in this franchise? And what do I want personally, professionally, and financially? As clear and specific and baby, as big as you can make it. This is not the time to think small. Your logical mind is going to start to scream at you and tell you all the reasons it's not possible for you. When you work with Kim Daly, especially in the Zee Suite, we're going to remove the limitation. I'm going to teach you how to dream the impossible dream and actually get it. I'm living proof. So that would probably be number one. Number two would be make sure you invest in a franchise that you can more than comfortably afford. It's like building a house. It always costs more money than you think it's going to take. So don't put yourself in a situation where your statistics merely because you ran out of money. Don't get emotionally sucked in that the business has to be the right one. And I'm passionate about this. And so that's why I'm doing it. No, I want you to be passionate about the role that you play in the business. I want you to be passionate about the people and the culture that you're stepping into. That's what makes you a happy, successful franchisee. You will love, trust me, any business that makes you money, that allows you to own the cash flow, build the equity, have the free time, live the greater American dream. No matter what that widget or product or service is, you will fall madly in love with it if it affords you the other things. But if you're in love with the product or the service, but it doesn't afford you the other things, doesn't matter how much you love it. You're going to hate your business. So that's number two. And then switching over to the Zee Suite for number three, I would say that strategy, again, will get you from A to B. Einstein actually said that, but your imagination will take you anywhere. So what did he mean by that? Well, what he meant is that where's your imagination, right? Your imagination is in your mind and it's big and it's unlimited, right? When you were a kid, you get lost in play. You'd be fantasizing about cowboys and Indians or Barbie dolls talking to each other, right? Whatever it is that you love to do. Or if you're a little kid playing ball, you'd imagine probably hitting the home run at Fenway Park. You'd have this active imagination, but somewhere along the line as adults, we stop dreaming dreams because life applies filters and tells us that's not possible. That's not realistic. You have responsibilities. Maybe somebody listening hasn't even said yes to the dream to own a franchise because of those voices. But here's the thing. They're all lies. They're all lies taught by the world. So in the Zee Suite, I'm going to help you remove the filters, get back to your true essence, which is a supernatural being. You are a spirit with a physical body, not the other way around. You are not a body with a spirit. There is more of you that's unseen. There is more unlimited possibility and power in you than you believe when you think from your logical mind. That's really the whole point of the Zee Suite. So that's how I help people to dream bigger dreams and achieve them. Because when you're tapped into unlimited source, there's no competition. Whatever's happening in the economy doesn't even matter. Right? You're like, I don't have the skill. You don't need the skill. You'll figure out the how because you're not the source. So I know I gave a lot more than that, but those are probably the three things I would say, but there's so many more.
Well, the spirit's moving me. I can feel it already. Something that you said kind of just still rings in my head. And the first thing you spoke about was everybody has this thing the business that they want to be in. They're going to tell you the business that they're going to be in. How do you match a certain type of personality or background or experience with a business? That to me seems like the hardest thing. I mean, we are immersed, Sequel Brands is immersed in fitness, right? So we have 2 recovery brands and we have 2 fitness brands. We've got Pilates and we've got Body 20, which is electromuscular stimulation. We've got Beam Sauna, infrared light sauna, and then we have iFlex, which is stretching. These brands are easy for me. I love fitness. You love fitness. We've been involved in, fitness for ourselves our entire lives. What happens when an engineer comes to Kim Daly or someone that maybe was a teacher or someone that was in the healthcare system and just got tired of, red tape and bureaucracy? What happens then? How do you match those people, their experiences, their personalities to specific businesses? Give us the secret sauce with that question.
Bobby, I can't give you my secret sauce, and you just stole my words. You were reading
give
my
us
mind.
give us some of it.
Yeah, it really isn't a secret. I mean, look, so because what happens is when you come to me, I'm going to help you center yourself on your goals and dreams. We're going to let go of what the business is. The business is the vehicle driving the outcomes personally, professionally, and financially. Okay. So we have to focus on personally, professionally, and financially. What are the outcomes? So I very carefully, this is 23 years of experience. So I can't sum it up in like 1 minute,
Sure.
but it's basically helping people take my hand. I'm the leader of your process. Trust me. I will guide you to the right options. By the way, there are no right options. The right option is the one that you make a committed decision to. Now, I want you to tell me the owner that you want to be, the role that you want to play, the hours you want to put in or don't want to put in, the people you want to create jobs for or don't create jobs for, the customers you serve or don't. You know, like in every category, there's a premium player, there's a Lifetime Fitness, and there's a Planet Fitness. So are you a premium guy, a luxury guy or gal? Or are you a value? Because it's also matching your risk tolerance. You mentioned the engineer. I love engineers. Engineers are very data driven and they're very conscientious decision makers. So they think a lot from logic. But once they get to Kim Daly, we remove some of that. But you can't, change a zebra stripes in a few calls, but I can help them understand how that can limit them. But there's great options for engineers, but they might be different from someone like Kim Daly. So I've owned businesses since I was 25 and I'm a little bit older than that. So I don't want a franchise that has 3,000 units. I would die where every I is dotted and every T is crossed. And, there's a rule for everything. But that engineer who clings to the data and clings to the security of that system will thrive there. So a good experienced franchise consultant is looking at things that you're not even aware are important to you, but I know they're important to you, right? And then also thinking ahead, are you building this to sell it or are you building it to hold it? Maybe pass it to your kids. If you're investing in laundry, that's a long haul. You're not doing that for 5 years, right? You're probably doing that for 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, especially if you're building one from the ground up. But if you're investing in fitness, it's probably the opposite. You're thinking 5 to 10 years, but beyond that, how does the fitness industry evolve and change? It's kind of like technology. It's always going to be ebbing and flowing. That doesn't make it a bad investment. It just means you have to understand what you're using the investment for, how long you want to be a part of it. Are you building it to sell it? Are you building it to hold it? Do you want to get your kids involved? There's so many different factors. And all of those things, when we start talking about that, what happens naturally, Bob, is the people start to let go of their attachment to the widget because they realize this chick knows what she's talking about. She's leading me to thoughts I hadn't even thought about and helping me formulate. And then what happens is now I become the leader. And so when I serve up companies and I go, look, your dream is in house painting, they might be like, what? But then they go and they experience it and discover it. And I always bring back 3 to 5 so that they can compare and contrast. It's not about what I think is best. It's about what they think is best, but it's aligning the characteristics of their ideal future and then ideal investment, not the widget. And ultimately and finally, it's always about people. So franchisepreneurship is about finding people that inspire you. So you've worked in corporate America. You've worked for good bosses and bad bosses. You've worked in good cultures and bad cultures. I never did it, but I've been around it with all my candidates for 23 years, right? So there's nothing worse than being a part of a team you don't even love, you don't respect. This is your moment to find the people because ultimately they're your mentors, they're your role models. So you want to lean into the leadership and find people that you can get to know, like, and trust and want to be a part of the exciting brand building experience that they're going to offer you.
I love that. And I go back to, it's the vehicle, the business, the concept, it's the vehicle. And you can't get married to it, right? You can't fall in love with one concept because it's just never good. That's just not reality. That's not how things work. Right. And this chick knows that you get to meet this chick, Kim Daly. You'll find out real fast that she's got a track record and a history that makes a lot of sense for people. Kim, what else would you want people to know about Kim Daly that maybe we don't from the business sense? Because I think, you hit a lot of topics today. And my favorite was that, really the Jesus meets Einstein. I'm going to be sleeping tonight, and probably not very easily, because I'm figuring out how this Jesus and Einstein, if they met, what they would say to each other, and then what would Kim Daly say in between. So what else can you share with us to leave us with one more nugget to say goodbye with?
Oh boy. Okay. One more nugget. Well, I'll tell you this. So there's a lot of people efforting in business, doing all the right things they were taught and trained by their franchisor, and they're still not living the dream because they have money blocks. Money is energy. So most people are attached to money as this thing that they're paid for productivity or for a certain amount of time they put into a job. And that's how much they were told they were paid. They have to show up to earn that money. And in the quantum field, all of that is a lie. Money is energy. And so you cannot build a prosperous, abundant future from limited thoughts about money. You cannot hold thoughts that rich people are greedy and build abundance for yourself. You cannot hold thoughts that my time at 40 hours is worth $200,000 a year, and then step into business ownership, say you want to work 20 hours a week and make $1 million. You have to do the thinking work. So Napoleon Hill wrote an amazing book, which is one of the books that we teach from in the Zee Suite, called Think and Grow Rich. And I'm famous for saying he interviewed 500 of the wealthiest people, the Fords, the Carnegies, the Edisons, the Charles Schwabs of the early 1900s. And he compiled all that he learned from the 500 wealthiest people to form the laws of achievement. And that's what Think and Grow Rich is. He did not title the book Do and Grow Rich. He titled it Think. Thinking is the most expensive work that we humans can ever do, because we were built to survive in the wild, and in the wild, there's no time to think. It's only time to react. And most of us, our entire life, until you hear Kim Daly say that, go, wow, that's a true statement. And the way that we react to money tells our money story. And so if you don't work on your money story, even before you invest in a franchise, you can go have the greatest franchisor in the world, the greatest franchise system. And I'm sorry to tell you, you will never build wealth and abundance and prosperity, because money will not flow where it's not welcome.
Work from the neck up. I like it. The thinking part is the toughest. There's no question about it. I love it. Kim Daly, where can people find you?
I have two websites. So if you're thinking about franchise consulting, they're all going to be merged soon. You could go to thedailycoach.com. That's DALY.
Right.
But if you're interested in this money, what is she talking about? Money is energy. And why is thinking so hard? I think every single day. Please head right over to the Z, because you're a franchisee. So instead of the C Suite, we're talking about the Zee Suite, ZEESUITE. And you can learn more about all the courses. I have pre-recorded courses, but the most important thing I think I offer is the biweekly coaching with the community. So you can get into this non-denominational community. It's franchisees from all different types of products and services, franchises, who are all coming together to level up their thinking so we can all live our wildest dreams together through franchising.
Kim, thank you so much for being part of the show. Sequel Brands thanks you. I thank you. And we are just going to be doing a lot of business together. I know that, but just from the bottom of my heart, appreciate your friendship and your expertise and sharing some of those thoughts today. I thought it was really impactful, and hope people will take it to heart.